Hello, I'm Dawn Priolat, and I am your love and money coach. And today, I had promised you that I was going to do some live streams with doing the book club for the book Tapping into Wealth. Instead, right now, what I'm doing is just doing the video for you. So this is the book Tapping into Wealth, and this was written by my mentor, Margaret M. Lynch. You can have the book or not have it, because either way, I'm going to make it so that it doesn't really matter whether you have the book or not. I'm not here just to promote the book. But I do want to go through some of what is talked about in this book in terms of your debt. I want to talk about, well, how can the mind, body, money connection, how can doing energy work actually help you to get out of debt? And is that even possible? That may be your question. Like, how can that even be possible? That doing some weird thing like tapping on your face is actually going to help you to get out of debt. I mean, I know for some people it seems very, very out there, very woo-woo, new agey, and it seems very hard to believe. But I'm here to tell you, and I'm here to show you that it is absolutely possible for that to help you get out of debt, and I'm going to show you how. So, and I'm also going to, because I know that if you're following me on YouTube and you are signed up on my website, then you are most likely a beautiful, basically successful, smart woman who is really looking for the man who is perfect for her and supporting her in her mission. And also, in order for you to be working your mission, you also need the money for that. And I also want to show you how the feelings and the emotions and the things that we tell ourselves about our debt, how it affects us in terms of relationships. So debt is one of the 5 types of money that is discussed in this book. And okay, so to start with, I want to just mention, okay, not everybody has debt, and if you are one of those people who says, Dawn, I don't have any debt at all, put your hands together and say, thank you, God. Because you are one of the few. You are one of the few people that can actually say that. But the average, I know the average American person has quite a bit of debt. Most of us, well, many of us in the middle class, maybe some of us are the first generation to go to college for some of us, and so that's how we first get introduced into debt. For a lot of us is through our student loans. And so debt has just become kind of a fact of life. Most of us have it, but how you feel about that debt determines how resourceful you are in being able to handle that debt and manage it. So here's what I want to do. I'd like you to actually take out a piece of paper, little tablet, pen, and I want you to write down the amount of debt that you have. Now, the other thing I do want to mention, if you have a mortgage, for most people, they consider that mortgage to be good debt. In other words, they feel pretty good about it because, it's allowing them to keep a roof over their head. So it's not something that is really a problem. So if you feel good about your debt, That's wonderful. You know, we're not going to deal with that. But if you have debt, credit card debt, where you kind of went on some spending sprees and you really, really don't like that, and you want to try to get that debt down, but maybe you're feeling stuck, that's what I want you to write down. So write down that number, and if you don't know exactly what it is, believe me, you're in good company, because there are so many people who are so paralyzed by their debt that they stopped opening their mail concerning their debt a long time ago. So if you have not opened up those, collection letters for a long time, you're in very good company. I just want you to know that. You wouldn't believe, I've known of CPAs who handle other people's money very well, but when it comes to their own money, they are hiding a major, major problem. So I don't want you to feel bad about that, but just write that amount down. And now I want to ask you, when you look at that number on that piece of paper, I want you to just notice, what are you feeling coming up when you actually look at that amount of your debt? Are you feeling tension in your body anywhere? Are you feeling a funny feeling maybe in your stomach? Are you feeling tightness in your chest? What's coming up in your body? And the other thing I want you to notice is, what does that debt mean about you? In fact, I want you to write down this sentence. This debt means I'm blank. And then I want you to fill in the blank. And what are some of the things that are coming up in your head? What do you tell yourself about this debt? It could be something like, this means that I'm really irresponsible. This means I'm a loser. This means I deserve, fill in the blank. There's another one. This means I deserve what? And fill in the blank, because some people it means, I deserve exactly what I'm getting. I deserve to have the problems I'm getting because, look how irresponsible I was. And what are some of the emotions that are coming up? Now, for most people, the first emotion that comes up is shame, guilt, shame, or embarrassment. People feel very, very embarrassed about their debt. And it's one of those things that it's like this dirty little secret that they carry around in them. And they think, man, if anyone were to find out, they would, run as fast as they can away from me. Or, I would just be so humiliated and so embarrassed. And I want you to think about, because, you may be out there dating, you may be looking for the ideal man. And I want you to think about what kind of vibe you're putting out when you're dating. If you're carrying around this big secret, this big shameful, humiliating secret, that is your debt. Imagine you're out on a date, and this is kind of running in the background all the time, like an app that's running all the time. This inner feeling of shame, like, because I have this debt, this means I'm irresponsible, this means I'm stupid with money, I'm not a good money manager, and basically I deserve exactly what I'm getting. I deserve to be in this debt. And maybe there's a part of you that thinks, yeah, I need to hold on to this debt because I need to really learn the lesson from it. Okay? And now there's one more thing I want you to consider. How many of you are thinking, when you look at that number, and you think, oh my God, this is just impossible. It's just impossible. I could live to be 100 and I'll never get this paid off. And that is like the number one reason why you won't get it paid off. Because think about it logically. If you don't even believe it's possible to ever pay that off, are you even going to try? Are you even going to take any kind of action whatsoever to try to get that debt paid off? Are you going to actually be in a resourceful state of mind? And the answer is obviously no. That's where most people are. This is why they don't open those collection letters. They don't answer the phone calls. They don't do anything to take action that might actually start to help them at least begin to start dealing with that debt in a responsible way. So they just basically bury their head in the sand and they don't want to face it. So now, what I want you to do is I want you to write down some phrases, whatever feels right for you. For example, it's impossible. And I want you to measure. In other words, it's impossible to ever get this debt paid. It's just going to be impossible. I might as well forget about it. And I want you to measure from 0 to 10, how true does that feel right now as you look at that number that you wrote down on that paper? How true does that feel? And the next phrase, look at, well, here's the thing. Think of what's the main feeling that you have about that debt. So if it's shame, if it's guilt, whatever it is, now measure that feeling from a 0 to 10 and write that number down, because we're going to do some EFT tapping to try to really release and let go of the guilt, the shame, the how could I be so stupid, all of that, because all of these feelings, these negative, heavy emotions, and the judgment that you have towards yourself, and this, utter disbelief, the feeling like it's totally impossible for me to even pay this. So like basically there's no use in me doing anything about it because it's just not going to happen. If you don't release that, you will not be in a resourceful state to actually move forward and be open to having the universe gift you with ideas about how you could possibly start to make a dent in that debt. And so it will absolutely keep you paralyzed from moving forward. And so I'd like to do some EFT tapping with you. And so looking at that debt, we're going to just jump right in. I'm not going to start with the karate chop point. Just look at that debt, and we're going to do some tapping so that we can help to get rid of some of that negativity around this. So looking at your debt, there it is. Just tap with me, repeat after me. There's my debt, right there in black and white on paper. And it feels bad, just looking at it feels horrible. I don't want to look at this debt. It's not going to do any good to look at this debt. There's nothing I can do about it. I feel so stupid and ashamed. I feel so irresponsible when I think about this debt. And maybe there is a part of me that feels like I should be punished. And maybe that's why I still hold on to it. I feel irresponsible. I feel stupid. I feel like a horrible money manager. And everywhere I go, I carry around this energy of shame, this energy of embarrassment. If anybody were to find out how much money I owe, I would be horrified. It would be so embarrassing. It would be so humiliating. I can't let anybody find out about this. And yet I carry this energy everywhere I go. And I'm wondering, how does that affect my relationships? The romantic ones and the non-romantic ones. When I carry around all this guilt and shame, it's like there's a part of me that feels like I don't deserve good things because of this. Maybe I feel like I don't deserve to have good things because I've been so stupid and so irresponsible. I wonder how many good things in my life I've been pushing away because I'm punishing myself for this. And it just feels so impossible to ever even think about paying this off. I feel like even if I were to live to be 100 years old, I will never be able to get this amount of money paid off. It's too big. It's just too much money. I can't make that much money in my whole lifetime. I will never be able to earn that much money. It just feels too hard. It just feels too overwhelming. And I'm just beating myself up about this. And it feels right that I should. I should beat myself up about this. It was so irresponsible to get that much in debt in the first place. And there's no man on the planet that is going to want a woman like me who has all of this debt hanging over her head. What man is going to want me? I'll have to just settle for whoever will have me. Oh my God, this explains what I've been going through with relationships. Oh my God. Okay. I know those words sounded very, very harsh, but they also may have very much hit home. And I want you to, please leave a comment down below this video and tell me, which of those words really resonated for you. And I really, I brought up all the negative stuff because this is the stuff that's playing in the background all the time. So when we do EFT tapping, it's really about clearing all that negative energy that's already running in your energy system. And now I want you to look at some of the stuff that you wrote down, that you took a measurement on. For example, if the phrase, "it's impossible to ever pay this debt," you know, if you were, let's say, if you were at a 10 with, yes, that's absolutely true. When we started the tapping, I want you to remeasure that and see, has that number come down some? For some of you, it may be down to a 5 or so. For some of you, it may have this may have caused even more intensity. And don't worry, because that's actually a good thing, even though probably right now it's feeling like crap. Just keep tapping on your, maybe your collarbone point. If you're crying right now, if you're feeling really, really bad, just keep tapping, and I guarantee you the intensity will start to come down, but just keep the tapping up. The other thing is, what was the main feeling for you? If it was guilt, if it was shame, if you measured before we started tapping, and maybe it was a 10 or a 9, what is it now? How does that feeling of guilt or shame? And even though the number hasn't changed yet, the number's still the same, I want you to notice how the tapping actually can bring down the intensity of the negative feelings. And the main thing is, if it now is starting to feel a little bit more possible that maybe somehow, and maybe you don't even know how yet, but maybe there is a way around this debt. Maybe there's a way that I could actually start paying it down, or maybe start earning more money to help me to be able to pay it down. Maybe you don't know how it's going to happen, but you just feel like, you know, it doesn't feel as impossible as it did before. That's where I want you to get to. Because when you get to that point, now you're allowing the universe to come in and give you ideas about things that you can do. I remember when I started doing this tapping about my debt, I had a lot of student loan debt. And that's where I was. I was like, this is just completely impossible. I don't want to deal with it. I was like ignoring phone calls. I wouldn't open the mail. And this is such a common thing, because I really felt like it's impossible. Like, why should I even bother to deal with this? Because I'm never going to be able to pay this, no matter what. And I remember when I started, you know, tapping down the guilt, the shame, the embarrassment, all the ways I was beating myself up inside over the debt. I remember I finished one round of tapping about it, and I picked up a piece of mail that I had never opened before. I just kind of randomly picked it up, and I said, oh, you know, what's this? And I never opened it. I opened it up, and inside was information about how I could get a free credit report, and that I was entitled to get a free credit report, you know, at least once a year. And it gave me a number that I could call and a website that I could go to. And I looked at the postmark on that envelope, and the postmark was from like 2 or 3 years ago. Okay, so I had had that piece of mail. It had been sitting there all that time. I never threw it away, but I never opened it until after I started clearing the shame, the guilt, all of these feelings about my debt. Then I just that one action, one positive action, and I did it. I got, you know, the first credit report, you know, and I actually saw it. I looked at it with black and white. And believe me, I had to do more tapping when I looked at my credit report, okay, because it brought up more stuff, okay. But see, this is a process. We're not aiming to get rid of all of it today. What I'd like for you to do, to be able to do, is like me, just take one positive step. And once you clear out that belief that this is impossible, you will start to take little baby steps. in working on your debt and trying to come up with a plan and making the phone calls. That was the next thing that I started to do. I started calling and actually being able to talk to people about my student loan debt and other debt that I had without fear and without the beating myself up, and just, coming more from a mindset of, okay, how can I resolve this? What can I do today? What's one thing I can do today? And that's where I'd like you to get to. What's one thing I can do today? What action could I take today that, is not necessarily going to wipe out all this debt, but it's going to bring me even just one baby step closer. Okay? And so, on that note, if you got something to drink, hopefully you got some water close to you. Let's keep that energy moving. Drinking water helps to keep the energy moving. And so now I'd like to do one more round of tapping with you. And we're going to now focus a little bit more on the positive, because we've probably helped you to get a lot of the negative feelings down a little bit. And so you're probably now in a more resourceful state. So this is going to be a little bit more positive, and we're going to kind of reframe things. Okay, and I'm going to start at the top of the head. And again, look at your debt. There it is. My debt. It's still there. It hasn't changed. But maybe I just feel a little bit lighter about it. Maybe somehow, with this crazy tapping, maybe it just feels a little bit less impossible to handle. But I still don't know how I'm going to do it. That's okay. Even though I don't know exactly what I'm going to do about it, and I don't know exactly how this is going to happen, I am committed to finding a way to get rid of this debt. And I've started today by letting go of all of the negative, hurtful feelings that I've been holding on to concerning this debt. I've taken the first step already. The first step is letting go of the need to punish myself because of this. Haven't I been punished enough just having this debt and carrying around these feelings of shame and embarrassment? Haven't I been punished enough by everything that the shame and the embarrassment has done to my relationships? I think that's punishment enough. Because I've been showing up in all of my relationships with this river of shame that's just been running in the background. And now I can kind of see why I haven't been treated so well. I can kind of see why I haven't set better boundaries in my relationships with people. There was this part of me that was running that says, this is what you deserve. You don't deserve any better than this. So I didn't ask for more. I didn't ask to be treated better. Because deep down, I just felt I didn't really deserve anything. I deserved to be treated badly. I deserved to be treated like I wasn't important. Like my feelings don't matter. And I never really made that connection before. That at least part of this has to do with all this shame that I carry around about my money situation, about this debt that I've been punishing myself forever for, that I've been beating myself up about for years, and never allowing myself to just be treated well, to be treated like a queen, to be adored and loved. I never felt worthy to really ask for my needs to be met. Because I thought that having all this debt was proof that I'm irresponsible and stupid and I don't deserve any better than what I'm getting. I've held this debt as more evidence of my not deserving better than what I'm getting. Wow, this is huge. And I am so ready to let it all go. Take a big, deep breath. And I really want you to just think about how huge this really is. I really want you to sit with this realization of how all these feelings of guilt and shame and how could I have been so stupid, how all these feelings that are in your debt have actually not only been affecting your ability to take the actions that you need to take in getting out of your debt, but I also want you to see how these feelings have been bleeding over into every part of your life, your relationships with men, in terms of what you feel you deserve. When you carry shame in any area of your life, it affects your entire being. It affects your whole life. And this is really about healing your life. So I know there's maybe more work to do around this. I'm not telling you that we've dealt with every single aspect of your debt today, but I wanted to give you a really good start and a really big aha moment. I wanted you to see this. And this is the beginning of not only, because I'm here to help you get the man and the money while working in your meaningful mission. Okay? That's what I'm committed to helping you to do. Not so that you can work a job, which means just over broke, working paycheck to paycheck. I'm here and committed to helping you to get the man and the money. And for some of you, I know you get annoyed when people talk about making money. And I just want to say to you, look, if you're on my list, you're one of my subscribers, I know you're about helping people. I know the people who follow me want to make the world a better place. And in order for you to do that, I'm telling you straight, you have got to get rid of these blocks to money. You've got to really make money fall in love with you. You've got to get clear that money is an energy, and you want to allow yourself to bask in this energy and stop this feeling like, this feeling of scarcity. And believe me, there's plenty to go around. Now, the way that most of us were brought up, we were brought up with such feelings of scarcity and lack, and this idea that, there's not enough to go around and everybody's got to kind of fight over it. I know, because I grew up that way too. But I'm here to show you another way. And so today we have gone over, debt and how to tap, and we've done some tapping about that. And I want you to, again, test that. Remember the truth phrase that we had. It's impossible. It's impossible to get out of debt. And I want you to say that out loud. It's impossible for me to get out of this debt. And again, measure and notice the difference. If you started with a 10, where is that at now? For most of you, you should be, maybe a 2, a 1, or some of you may be at a 0. If not, go back through this and do the tapping again. You can always rewind this and do the tapping again. And now I want you to look at the feelings that you came up with, the feeling of shame, and measure it from 0 to 10. With 10 being, yeah, I feel totally ashamed, and 0, I feel no shame. And see where you're at now. I'll bet you that it's quite a bit lower than when we started. Okay, so again, this is some of the tapping that we're doing is based on this book, Tapping into Wealth, which was written by my mentor, one of my favorite mentors, Margaret M. Lynch. And I am actually completing the certification as a Tapping into Wealth coach. So I'm actually being certified in doing this work. And I also add in, of course, my own insights into this, because I also am committed to helping you get the relationship and really work your mission in life. And so I apologize for not doing this on a daily basis. I really wanted to do this as a 21-day program, but right now my mother is in the hospital. She just had surgery, and so I'm kind of juggling taking care of her needs, and so I hope that you all understand. I will try to get back to you tomorrow, and we'll work on another aspect of tapping into wealth. But for now, I'm going to sign off. This have actually gone a lot longer with this video than I intended. So again, my name is Dawn Priolat, and if you're seeing this on YouTube, please subscribe to my channel so that you'll be able to get the next video as it comes out. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my website, it is dawnpriolat.com, and you'll see the spelling of my last name in the description. It's Priolette, but you'll see it in the description as well. So I'm going to sign off for today, and I will see you in the next video. Ciao.